Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of June. I hope you're well. I'm using the Triple Goddess for you today. What do I have to tell you? Mercury retrograde, very much in the grip of it by the time you see this video. It starts on May the 29th, I think, and will end on June the 22nd, but remember there's like a 2-week shadow period after that. So the usual rules apply. With it being in Gemini this year, you can expect a myriad of communication mishaps to be befalling both you and other people. So the advice is not to take anything that anyone says to heart too much, because, like I said, this it's going to be very difficult for people to articulate exactly what it is that they mean, so you shouldn't sort of jump to conclusions that you do understand what they mean. Treat everybody's words with a pinch of salt at this point, because the chances are they've not said it the way that they meant, and you know, we hope that then other people will extend the same courtesy to us. That's kind of the thing here. Be careful around signing contracts and things like that. If you absolutely must sign a contract, make sure that you double check and triple check. If you can get another set of eyes over it, that would be wonderful. What else? It's not a good time for starting something new. It is a good time, though, for finishing up things that you have already started. So, you know, bear that in mind. The energy of Mercury retrograde is reflective. You know, it's giving you an opportunity to tie up loose ends with things, close out old cycles properly, that kind of thing. You might have old people reappearing, and it is to close that cycle. The things that come during the retrograde rarely stay, so bear that in mind. Right, with all of that said, there will be an extended at the end of this if the reading resonates with you. The link will be down in the description box. So let's get 3 cards for Capricorn, please. Seven of Pentacles in your recent past. Current energy for Capricorn, please. Oh, we have the Chariot, but it's come out in reverse. Drop these cards down here. And what is coming towards Capricorn in June, please? Oh, goodness. Oh, you. Interesting, that's the Devil. We have the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck. That's Taurian energy. It deals with all sorts of things. But it is very preoccupied with structure and commitment. So let's bear that in mind. Before we go any further, I'm going to shut this fucking window, because everybody apparently wants to drive past my house now. Let's get some clarifiers here. Why is the Seven of Pentacles here for Capricorn, please? Thank you. We have the World in reverse with the Seven of Swords. Okay. What about the Chariot in reverse, please? We have the Four of Swords. And we have the Two of Cups. Tell me about the Devil. Where's the Devil here for Capricorn, please? Oh dear, I got the Three of Pentacles, and what was this? We've got the Four of Cups as well. Four of Cups is in reverse. We've got the Judgment card at the bottom of the deck. This really does feel like a reading of things coming to a head, Capricorn, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, we've got the Two of Swords directly behind it. Check out that Judgment card there, right? It's pretty savage. It feels very much like the retrograde energy is likely to be playing a big part in what goes on for you this month. Remember, although it closes out, although it stops appearing to go retrograde by the 22nd of June, we do have that shadow period. So in effect, the entirety of June is covered by this energy here. And with this Two of Swords, and the Judgment card, it does feel like those things that you have not seen, and there's almost been blind to, are really coming up in your face this month, right? There is no way of getting away from this energy, right? It's here and it needs dealing with. If it is not dealt with, it will resolve itself. But I do not feel that will go well for you, Capricorn. Like there's a lot here that is sort of asking you to engage with it energetically, and I think half of the problems that it feels like are coming up for you this month are because you have not engaged energetically with these things. So let's have a look in your recent past, and by recent past I do mean the last up to a month. Right? Let's have a chair then. It's Seven of Pentacles. Now this energy here is all about things being wrong. Right, it's just that kind of feeling of things being wrong. Now you may be able to, pinpoint exactly what they are, but it's more likely that you don't quite know why they're not right. It's that feeling of things just not quite being correct. Yeah, and the received wisdom of this card is that it indicates a situation where you have put some amount of effort in, and the yield that you are receiving from that effort is not what you anticipated, right? So it's having a situation that isn't quite right, and you're not entirely sure why it's quite right, but you're not getting your pentacles, you're not being able to harvest them from the tree because they're smaller than you expected, or there are fewer of them than you expected. Now, because it's pentacles, it could indicate money, but more often than not, it feels like a general energetic situation, because I see pentacles as energetic currency. So anything that you are capable of spending or investing then becomes a pentacle. So your time, your care, your effort, your money, yes, your love, all of these things are pentacles. And something about where you are putting your energy isn't giving you what you wanted. Now, the two cards that have come up underneath is the World in reverse and the Seven of Swords. Now, the World card is generally given to be a very good card. It is the last card of the major arcana, and therefore it indicates, a graduation of sorts. It talks about things completing and closing out sufficiently so that from there you go to the Fool. You start the next cycle of something. Now, because it's coming out in the reverse, it feels like it's either being denied by you, right, that something has ended, or that it's being delayed in some sort of way, and both actually might be the case here, because it's clarified by the Seven of Skies, which is the Seven of Swords in the standard deck, right? And that Seven of Swords, Seven of Skies, often indicates deceit or deception. And for me, more often than not, it indicates self-deceit, self-deception, where you have told yourself that something has not ended when it has, and it's quite clear that it has. Remember, pull you back to this, that which you are refusing to see. It's coming to a point now where you can't ignore it anymore. Like the pretending it's not happening cannot continue for whatever reason, and it feels actually a little less like it's coming from you and more that this has been coming from somebody else for quite a long time. Yeah. The Seven of Swords can also indicate risk, but we can weave that in with the alternate explanation again, because there's an element of you not wanting to take the risk of allowing the world to do its job and fully complete. and then move on, because there's something about this that feels inherently threatening. Like, we've got the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords here, and the sevens, particularly when they turn up in multiples, are talking about spiritual lessons, right? They're highly spiritual numbers. If the fives are when everything blows up, and then six is about moving to a safe distance from it, and the sevens is kind of looking at the situation and working out what it really means. And it seems like you've either tried to stop something ending, or you've been oblivious to the fact that it has, in most senses, de facto ended already. It's just waiting for you to catch up. Now, in your current energy, we have the Chariot, but it's come out in the reverse, and this is difficult energy, because this way around it talks about success and determination. It talks about goal setting and achieving those goals. It also talks about, you know, distinct forward momentum, successful forward momentum in achieving what it is that you're after. Now, when it comes up in the reverse, it is about that, the brakes being slammed on very fucking hard. So everything's come to an abrupt stop. There is no movement. There is no success. Determination is, you know, waning perhaps somewhat. And it's clarified by the Four of Swords and the Two of Cups, except the Four of Swords is in the reverse. Now, the Four of Swords for me is a card of taking a break. It's a card of stepping back. It is also my meditation card. And so it speaks about a useful level of detachment, actually, quite often for me. And it's useful because it's about gaining perspective. It's about seeing things from all different sides. It is that moment of pausing to make sure that everything that you're looking at is exactly where you think it is and where it should be, you know, what it is that you're planning for. But the fact that it's come up in the reverse feels like there's been a lack of contemplation here. Yeah. It's coming up with the Two of Cups, so we have here another person. We have somebody else. And it feels like this month they are the ones who are kind of bringing it to your attention, right? Bringing it into your psyche, into your consciousness, that something is not progressing here. Now, this Two of Cups is not in the reverse, which is interesting, because if it was in the reverse, it would say, "Ooh, this is a major breakup. This is just, you know, whatever." It's not that, right? And we see that replicated then across, you know, because we've got the Judgment card here. It's asking you to make a decision about what is going on here. We've got the Hierophant, which is dealing with, you know, notions of commitment and things like that, right? This is kind of like a last chance saloon to sort this out, because it's not going anywhere in the guise that you are, you know, trying to flog it forward at the moment. It's just not happening. There's still hope here. But genuinely, Capricorn, this is kind of the last opportunity that you have to deal with this, if this is something that is important to you. Because one way of seeing the Four of Swords would be coming out of that contemplative, meditative space and knowing what it is that you want. But I don't feel that here for you. Not with the cards that are already on the table. It feels more like you have not spent the time really looking at this. You haven't spent the time engaging on not only with this other person, but also what it is that you feel about this other person. Now, this isn't necessarily restricted to romantic situations. It could be friends, it could be family, it could even be, you know, work colleagues if you're in partnership with someone, something like that. You know, it seems like you've been very much single-minded and single-focused about what you are trying to achieve, and it does feel like there's been some collateral damage along the way, Capricorn, which for one reason or another you have been oblivious to. And I wonder if you've really been that oblivious to it, as oblivious as you're making out, or whether you have just sort of hunkered down somewhat because dealing with the other thing was kind of difficult, you know. Now I'm looking at the the cards on the table and paying attention to the fact that also the Chariot is card number 7. We have 3 7s here. Now that's a lot of 7s. There's quite a lot of depth to what is being shown here. I'm just going to pull another card for this 4 of Swords and 2 of Cups, because there's something else here, like it's not quite showing up. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so we have the Page of Pentacles, we have the 3 of Swords, and we have the Knight of Pentacles, but the Knight of Pentacles has shown up in the reverse, and we have the 9 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. At the moment, what it is that you're oblivious to, Capricorn, is either the pain of someone else or your own pain, and this is important. We have the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles with this 3 of Swords sandwiched in between. And what we've got here with the Page of Pentacles is a desire to start new, to start afresh, right? What we've actually got is somebody who perceives the value in what they have, but through the wounding that they contain, because I think part of it is you ignoring this situation because it's hard, Capricorn. We're not seeing actually any changed behavior to facilitate this Page of Pentacles moving forwards. Because the Page of Pentacles is almost like it's almost ideological in its presentation, right? Yes, I intellectually perceive this thing, ideologically, like this fits in exactly with what I want, but there are problems with it, there are cracks here. And rather than having the Knight of Pentacles in the upright and going, well, so there are cracks here, so we're going to investigate these, we're going to do a bit of maintenance, we're going to fix all of these things, I'm going to find out what it is about my behaviour that's upsetting somebody else, I'm going to find out what it is about their behaviour that is kind of causing me to hunker down, which is a very, very standard Capricorn response when you are presented with something that is emotionally difficult. If it was work related, you'd be sat there all day long fixing this, but when it's emotional, that is really hard, that is really threatening, and you tend to stick your head in the sand. Sometimes, even worse than that, you tend to self-sabotage. This is your last opportunity to fix this, right? Because it doesn't matter how much you think you want this person around. At the moment, your actions are not reflecting it. And this is really hard for the other person, I feel. I feel it's really hard for you too, but specifically it's for them. Like, we've got this 9 of Swords at the bottom of the deck here. And in the shadowscapes, interestingly enough, we've got this kind of vortex that's above the chap who is depicted. And we have the 9 of Swords, but the 9 swords are not up on a wall like you would usually find them in a 9 of Swords card. These are actually tattooed on the chest of this person. I want to see if the camera will focus to show you. I don't know if it's working or not, but the 9 swords are all across his chest there, right? This is something really deep in you, Capricorn. And I think that it's something that you are aware is there. You were certainly present as these tattoos were, you know, being formed on your chest, but you don't ever look down. You don't ever address them, you know. You're always looking to the next thing. Or maybe it is that they've been there so long that you've almost forgotten that they're a part of you now. The 9 of Swords is anxiety. It is things that started as coping mechanisms that have moved into acts of self-sabotage, subconscious acts of self-sabotage. It's a lack of perspective. And it's the threat being in the wrong direction. You know, your perception of the threat being in the wrong place. So we move to what's coming towards you in June, and we have the Devil card. Now, ordinarily, that would be very concerning for me because of everything that the devil, you know, tends to represent. It does have a positive side too, but that one comes out a little less often in readings, and it's usually context specific. It needs other cards with it for that positive note to come through. But because it is the card of Capricorn, and because I like it when signs show up authentically in their own readings like this, just like this woman who's about to start a journey into the dark woods, it feels like perhaps that's where you are now, Capricorn. It feels like a journey of self-discovery, and these are themes that you have been exploring for over a year now. I remember distinctly them, not the details exactly, but the notion of kind of knowing that there was an escapism in the way that you have chosen to live your life thus far, an invalidation of other people's emotions when they touch too closely to your own, because well, people tend to, sometimes Capricorn, you come across as completely emotionless, like a bit of a machine. And that isn't you at all. What we have there is incredible emotional wounding, and you have been taught at an early age that your emotions weren't valid, so you just stuffed them all into a box and you got on with the business of achieving, which is what Capricorns do, and you're very, very good at it. And that's where you get your validation, that's where you get your sense of self-worth, all those sorts of things. But all of those emotions that you kicked under the bed haven't stayed hidden. Like I said, you've basically just tattooed them on yourself. And so what we have here is a journey into a very dark wood to see what it is that you are made of, Capricorn. Like, it doesn't feel exactly like a dark night of the soul, but it is a position now where you need to decide, right, moving forwards. If you are going to, you know, continue on this road of having your life comprised only of your own achievements and no emotion whatsoever, you know, certainly not reciprocated at the level that somebody is trying to reciprocate with you here, or whether you want to access layers and dimensions of your life which will necessarily involve you walking through a dark place first, and the dark place is inside you, Capricorn, right? The two cards that came out to clarify here are the Four of Cups and the Three of Pentacles, and both of them are in the reverse, which is interesting because the Four of Cups is a card of abandonment. It's a card of rejection. It is also a card of abandoning and rejecting. There we go. I tried to put too many bits in it. Syllables. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Tried to put too many syllables in. You know, this is speaking to your abandonment and your rejection at an early point, but it's also talking to how you are repeating the pattern, how this is present in the way that you interact with the people around you. Now, when it comes out in the reverse, this is a state of gratitude for what you have. This is a state of gratitude for the people that are around you. This is an openness to people. It is moving away from an energy of being more comfortable in these small micro rejections that Capricorns indulge in every day, and kind of understanding what is important, right? This is why you need to go traversing through this dark wood, just as this devil is here, because you need to it certainly seems that the energy is pushing you towards facing your own abandonment, your own rejection. Because acknowledgement is observation, and observation is processing, right? You need to see that it is there. You have to acknowledge that it's there, and then you have to sit with it. And it kind of seems like June is the month where this is going to happen for you. The Three of Pentacles being in reverse is quite interesting too, because this way around it talks about cooperation, collaboration, teamwork, working together with someone else. The fact that it has come up in the reverse is doing things solo, right? It feels to me like there isn't necessarily going to be somebody who's holding your hand through this process this month, Capricorn. This is you flying solo, and this is you digging really, really deep and needing to, because there's something important here that is asking to be saved. And until you do this work, I don't think that you're going to get there. Let me just pull another couple of clarifiers for this. Oh, shit. Oh, all of those in there. So we've had the Four of Cups come out again, with the Lovers and the Hermit. And the Two of Swords. There's the Two of Swords again, right? What is it that you are not seeing? What is it that you are making sure that you can't see on a day-to-day basis, right? It is your emotions, Capricorn. That's what it is. Like we've spoken about this a number of times before, about how this just seems so easy for everybody else, and it's so incredibly threatening and dangerous for you, that it's something that you don't ever want to go anywhere near. But the fact is, this Two of Swords here, you know, we've got a swan and it's sat on the branch of a tree, and there is a heart hanging off the bough of the tree. It's right there. But then we have this figure stood with crossed swords, and behind it is another swan offering a flower. Now, let's just take a second to have a look at that. Oh, I don't think the camera's going to focus on it, right? We've got the swan at the back there. Then we've got this swan on the tree. We've got this figure here with the crossed swords. It's like, what decision are you going to make here? Because you need to make a decision. And currently, as things stand, you are very deliberately not looking at aspects around you here. Now, if this, you know, hooded figure is just going to, you know, fling his swords around just because, you know, he's not paying attention to his environment, the result is this. The result is the Three of Swords. The result is this, one of these swans getting absolutely skewered by these swords. I don't think that you want this, Capricorn. I think that if you did want it, you probably would have done it already. You know, you'd have just cut this person off and just gone, I'm not fucking interested, just go away. I don't want to talk to you anymore, go away. Something like that, you know. I would hope that you would do it nicer than that. But possibly you might not, right? Got the Four of Cups, the Lovers, and the Hermit. These two are exactly the same card. That's in the reverse. This is in the upright. You need to get engaged with this in order to find the things that you are grateful for, in order to find the things that you are emotionally, are prepared to commit to being emotionally open for. The Lover's card, it's a card of union. It's a card of choice, though. It's a card of you making a choice to do this, just as the Judgment card is you making a decision about this. And the Two of Swords, as it has appeared twice, is about you ignoring the things that you need to make a decision on. And we also have the Hermit. What do you want your life to be? Because it's not quite as perfect as you tell yourself that it is all of the time. And you know why it's not? It's because of the other person. And the other person feels to me like they've been trying to communicate to you. They've been trying to articulate things to you. And you've either kind of fobbed them off with something, or it's just been falling on deaf ears. You've just been like, it's fine, it's fine. We'll just get to the end of this week and then everything will be all right and you don't need to worry, you know, that sort of thing. June is a month of some real soul searching for you, because, put it this way, what's appearing in front of you is a choice. And for you, Capricorn, you need to understand very clearly that choosing not to engage with this, choosing not to do this work is as much a choice as choosing to do it. Right? Putting your head in the sand and hoping that this will go away is a choice. And if you want to keep any of what brings you joy, and I think that there is something of this situation that brings you joy this month, it really needs tackling in whatever sense that applies. So I am going over to Vimeo now to pull this apart a little bit and see what is going on exactly in the month of June for you. Did I say July before? I can't remember. I meant June anyway, right? See if we can't help try and pull this apart a little bit and give you some advice and that sort of thing. So if you'd like to join me over there, that would be cool. Link is in the description box. If not, then no shade. I'll see you again on Monday for the weekly read. But Capricorn, I feel like you actually want this. Anyway, right. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.